woke myself up to an alarm I set for 10 in the morning. On my laptop through a third-party website. And I was ready by the time my mom came over. My dad's place to take me to the Wegmans I work at around 11:30 in the morning. I woke up to the 10 in the morning alarm after going to bed roughly around 6. In the morning. Despite getting just 4-ish hours of sleep, I didn't feel tired. Didn't really feel tired at any point today, and not during my shift at Wegmans today, which was from noon or 12 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Right before my shift, I had both some coffee and my first Keurig pot of coffee. I had while at Wegmans. I always have my coffee plain and get the darkest roast I can. In this case, for the break room, it's usually one of the Colombian Wegmans generic Keurig pods. Colombian being the name of the medium roast blend Wegmans generic Keurig pods. I had one of those pods into one paper cup, and in another one of those cups I poured in some ladlefuls of hot chocolate that was being provided by our store in the break room all day today. I opted for the suggested recipe of a Mexican-style hot chocolate by after pouring in the few ladlefuls of hot chocolate, I shook in some ground cinnamon and then some cayenne pepper. And then I added 5 big marshmallows. And the 5 marshmallows was what I had last. After drinking all of the hot chocolate. I took my 15-minute break at 5 p.m. during which I was in the public cafe part of the supermarket, having a sandwich my dad made for me, and then packed it in as a lunch along with a plastic bottle of water and 2 mild cheddar cheese sticks. He also packed in a 2-pack of Mallow cups, and then my mom added another plastic bottle of water, and 3 more mild cheddar cheese sticks of her own. When we got to the Wegmans I work at. While she was dropping me off there. But what's in the picture is what I consumed, though I only had a 15-minute break and I had to walk to the cafe part of the supermarket. And what's in the picture is what I consumed, though I had to eat all 5 mild cheddar cheese sticks at once, essentially making one very thick cheese stick. Basically a smallish bundle of mild cheddar cheese sticks. That I had wrapped around the fingers of my left hand, and that I all bit at once. I ended up bringing the 2 plastic bottles of water that I didn't have time for. And didn't put on to drink with my cart while I was working. I brought those 2 plastic bottles of water home. And I recall while I was working today, primarily doing I would primarily restock either the banana section of the produce department or the various products from a few runners for the convenience wall. Predominantly either pre-made salad kits or bagged various greens. Right after I clocked in for today, there was a conference meeting within the conference room, one that's basically right at the public, basically deeper into the public cafe part of the supermarket. But obviously, this conference room is only for employees of the Wegmans. And even then, it's only when there's a conference meeting. Such as today's conference meeting for the produce and floral departments that lasted roughly from noon to about 12:45 p.m. At this conference meeting, the equivalent of a cut up party sub was provided for those who attended. And there was still some even though it was essentially just a circular, a sort of plastic plate, of sort of squarish sections of sub sandwich around a central bowl of some kind of center, and some Wegmans generic wavy potato chips were also provided, of which I had some, and I also recall having a plastic bottle of water. Along with whatever I had of the equivalent of my first Wegmans generic Keurig pot of coffee. I accidentally spilled some. Towards the very back part of the floor of the produce department, but I immediately notified someone so that the spill could be taken care of. At the end of the conference meeting, there were some leftover subsections. So I was given 2 paper plates, one on the bottom, one below the 2 submarine sandwich sections. I asked if I could take home for my dad, and that request was accepted. And another paper plate on top to cover those submarine sandwich sections. And I put them into the break room refrigerator. After a pen was used, to write that they were mine on the top plate. And then roughly from 12:50 12:45 p.m. at the earliest to the end of my shift at 5:30 p.m. Those 2 submarine sandwich sections were in the break room refrigerator. Then I gave them to my dad while getting in the front passenger seat of his car, initially thinking he would drive me back to his place, but instead My dad suddenly suddenly offered for us to go to our regular Salvatore's, and I accepted that offer. I recall me and my dad were at our regular Salvatore's that we go to, and some of my dad's friends later joined us. Me and my dad were there roughly from 5:45 p.m. To about 7:45 p.m. During which I got a total of 2 alcoholic beverages, a whiskey me off my feet, which is predominantly consist of soda, Pepsi most likely, and some whiskey, and one sugar cookie martini, which I don't really recall much of what that is comprised of, but I assume it's predominantly, the largest part of it is vodka. And then after those 2 alcoholic beverages, I had the equivalent of 2 to 3 plastic glasses of iced water.